the Team Empire podcast. You're here with your host, Shannon, and I've got another one of our amazing pros from last year on the pod. I've got Monica Cunningham, our new Women's Physique pro. How are you, Monica?
I am very good. Hello.
Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for the invite.
Of course. And like we've been chatting about, you've had so many requests and you're like, what, who, where did they come from? But
Who knows me?
everyone wants to know all about you. So we're going to dive
Oh,
into this episode and it's going to be all about you and just your journey, bits and pieces about what you've been up to since your pro card, all of the good stuff. And we're already talking about a part 2. So we'll talk about that with you guys at the end of the pod. But we're going to talk all about,
excellent.
I want to know everything. I want to know all about you. Can you talk to us first about your festive season? We're going to talk about Christmas and stuff, and then we're going to dive back into your pro card. Have you had a break? Tell us you've had a couple of bits of cake or chocolate. What have you been up to, girl?
I think when my shows finished, there was I knew that there was a potential for a pro card because it was mentioned a lot. Everyone's like, you might get your pro card one. And I was like, cool. I don't really know what that means in terms of the repercussions afterwards. So I was like, that'll be cool. My plan was to do Auckland Regionals, Auckland Nationals, and then the next week do Mo's Muscles because I was like, there's going to be so many super muscly people there. That'll be really fun to go hang out backstage. And then it's like, pro card, woo! And then I realized I was like, I don't think I'm allowed to do Mo's Muscles now because I'm a pro and I don't. Yeah, so that was kind of, I was like, well, I'll go and watch. So me and one of the girls that I met doing the Auckland shows, Rachel, Gym Rat Rach,
Yeah.
we went and watched and that was good fun. But afterwards it was trying not to go completely off reservation with the food. And I've got 3 brothers and 2 of them came over from Australia and we all got together and did the family foods thing.
Oh, cool.
But I kept training because I like training and there was more food and the pressure had come off. So yeah, I had someone really surprised to see me the next day in the gym after after nationals. And I was like, well, I was doing this before the competitions. So yeah, I think the pressure came off with dieting, but I didn't want to completely lose my I'd heard horror stories about what happens when you just completely lose your discipline. But at the same time, it had been so long since I'd enjoyed my food. So
Bit of balance.
yeah. There was this wonderful transition period where everything that I was eating was turning into like glycogen. So I was like still peeled, but so swole. And that is peak human experience for me. I was just like, I can eat whatever I want right now, and it'll just turn into power in the gym and veins.
Love it. Works out
I can't wait till my next prep.
Looking forward to that moment. That moment, right?
Yeah,
I love
that'll
it.
be good.
Yeah. Can you tell us where in New Zealand are you, Mon? And what do you do for work? What do you do with your days and stuff like that?
Okay. I live and work in Auckland. I'm a personal trainer based in City Fitness, Albany, and I've been there since I started PTing 2017. Prior to that, I wound up teaching group fitness for like 8 years. My life kind of does very weird switches and turns, and not a lot of it's intentional. It's just like, here I am now, and this is what I'm doing. The gym's been a central thing, though. I grew up in West Auckland and Titirangi, and moved to the North Shore for work about, how old am I now? I'm 42.
Wow.
I know, right? Everyone's like, oh, bless, you're so old.
Oh, you're killing
No. Yeah, I think I moved to the North Shore in my late 20s. So I've been here for a while now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You're a Jaffa.
yeah, yeah. It's flatter over here. I like how flat it is. You can walk
Yeah.
and drive everywhere. Titirangi's like hills and
Yeah. No, the shore's
takes
nice.
like
On the beach too.
40 minutes to get to a gym, which is awful.
No, thanks. No, no. Don't need to be out west.
No.
Let's talk about your pro card win. I was there. I seen it. I was at the Auckland Regionals. I seen you. I was like, this chick, oh damn. And then obviously now Halved it up. But can you talk to us about the win? Like, what is that moment like? What is it? What did it mean to you and all of that kind of thing? Like, how was that day and that moment when you got announced?
On the pro card at Nationals.
Yeah, yeah.
It was I guess a lot of people will say their early shows are kind of like are just like a blur when you stand on the stage. Whatever plan I had had in my head was like gone as soon as I walked out from the wings. Um, I was full of adrenaline. I think the regionals win somehow felt more like real. I don't know if it's because it was smaller and less intense. Um, Nationals felt kind of a bigger deal. And for some reason, I felt less prepared doing nationals. And I blue screened like hard. I waiting backstage, waiting for like them to say women's physique coming on. The other thing was both of those shows online. It said that the women were going to go first, and then the dudes, and then on the day they switched them. So we're all like, I don't know where the fuck I'm going on now. So there was a lot of like gearing yourself up and then hesitating and pulling back. So actually being on stage felt like a hell of a lot of build up and a hell of a lot of like delayed adrenaline, delayed. So in the moment, I think it just kind of like washed across me. The whole time I was just trying to find my people in the audience as like a security thing to anchor myself. Um, and it yeah, it's funny because afterwards I wished I could redo it with less of the like deer in the headlights. I would have loved to feel like I could have put a more polished thing together. Um, it's funny. I sort of almost wished I had footage of the routines and me being on stage. I've got a couple of photos, but I also dread it as well. I'm like, I know I didn't do my lat spreads properly. The nerves, like every back shot, I've got my shoulders together, and I was like, why?
Oh.
Literally one job, pose. Yeah.
Little things you look back later and you're like, damn it, but we learn, hey? I don't know. Take from
And now I'm like, okay, so your next show, you know exactly what you need to fix.
That's
Yeah.
I think I did get some footage of you, Mon. I can't remember if I've still got it, but I did.
I did. I
Yeah.
caught it in one of your recaps. There
Oh,
was like, I was like, this is the first I've seen like an actual recording of my like
yes.
the
Yeah.
Pokemon one.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
there might be some of my highlights on Instagram as well. I can't remember, but I'll have a look and I'll see if I've got some for you.
that would
And
be
I'll teach you
marvelous.
a little bit because it was such a good routine. You just came out and you were like smoking it. We're going to talk about your posing soon, but I want to go back. I want to go back in time. I want to talk
Yeah,
about um we are going to do another podcast so everyone knows. We're going to dive into Mon's journey and there's a lot there, but we want to start with just like maybe how you got into bodybuilding, just some of the surface stuff. Like how did you get into it? What got you into the gym in the very beginning? And then why bodybuilding? What made you decide to jump up into bodybuilding?
I obviously grew up a long time ago. And the internet was young. I actually had never seen a female bodybuilder before in media or anything. And then I was at the supermarket one day and there was this majestic lioness of this woman just at the deli picking out probably chicken in hindsight. And I was just in awe that she looked so like she would probably be either physique or like a really like beautifully put together figure lady. Just and I was like, wow, we can look like that. And that was back when I was like 14 or 15. And I had always really been a little bit uncomfortable in my skin. As I say, I have three brothers. I'd never been at home or in the school I grew up in categorized as like smaller or petite or feminine and masculine didn't really come into things. It was like we played bull rush and climbed trees, and if you wanted to play with dolls, you played with dolls, and didn't whatever. Um, I used movement. I would say exercise, but it was actually movement. I used movement to kind of cope with a lot of stuff when I was growing up because I have strong suspicions that most of my family are undiagnosed various things. In hindsight, now that I have the internet and I can look things up, and maybe it would be called stimming now, but like being able to move and self-soothing through stuff like moving and singing. Even like I used to sing in the shower all the time. My landlords are like, "Ooh, she's going again." So when I was about 17 or 18, still living in West Auckland at the time, I joined Les Mills New Lynn, and there they had a dance-based program called Body Jam, and I can remember this very charismatic dude that would just leap around on the stage called Gandalf. If anyone's from the OG Les Mills, they will know who Gandalf is. And I was just like, man, I want to go in there and join in with that. And I was chronically introvert and shy, and at this stage I was inheriting all of my big brother's black baggy clothes. I don't know what the term we had back then was. We weren't quite emo or goth or anything. It was just, I will be covered in black. And I got into the habit of shaving my head. I kind of didn't want to be looked at, but dancing really brought stuff out of me. And yeah, so things like running, dancing. I didn't discover the weights room for a couple of years. I did all the group fitness classes. And again, there was this amazing woman who would teach pump called Debbie, I want to say Horridge. She's still going, from what I understand. She still teaches pump, and she just had these legs on her, and she was sculpted. And I was just like, I would follow this woman into battle, and I did regularly during her pump classes. And that kind of like connectedness to your body when you're just repping and repping, and if you've never done it, like body pump's brutal.
Yeah, so good.
Body pump is absolutely brutal, and I get why a lot of ladies get addicted to group fitness. Like the music's good, but also like it's literally you versus every rep that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And it's that high volume stuff, but oh my God, it was like crack. So yeah, gymming started off with group fitness, and then I kind of explored the weights room a little bit. But it wasn't till I started uni, and there was a uni gym. I went to Unitech in Mount Albert first, and they have their gym. And around that time, I also started kickboxing. So I cycled to kickboxing, run with the kickboxing group, cycle back to uni, weight train, do uni, and then do something random like rock climbing at night. Like I very much needed to move. It wasn't exercise, it was moving, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it took until probably my 30s and moving here to the North Shore, finding gyms where trainers were not saying odd shit like don't get too big or are you trying to look like a man? I was just like, what? No, I'm trying to look like majestic lion lady from the supermarket like decades ago. Like, what are you talking about? Also, points to a guy that looks that cool in this room with us. Is he in the room with us right now? No.
No.
And that introduced me to training with that purpose of like getting bigger and getting stronger. And I like talking a lot.
I love it. Keep going.
I'll just keep going and interrupt. I was interrupted. Sorry, I cannot England. I have the dumb. I was introduced. That's the word.
That's the word.
To people doing powerlifting, and I sort of dipped my toe into that. And one of my friends over the last probably decade or in a bit now, Kate Scarlett, who was Kate Mitchell back then. She was one of these like amazing chicks that just, shoulders, traps, thighs, and you're like, wow, can I be friends with you? And there were guys doing CrossFit stuff in the gym as well, and I just sort of beelined for these people and started kind of monkey see, monkey do. Discovered that I loved lifting heavier and heavier. And it was about that time, after 1 or 2 years of being in that environment with those people, that I even became aware of things like PEDs. So if anyone's wondering when that happened, stuff like that came on my radar in my like early 30s.
Nice.
It has kind of crossed my mind. I'm like, in today's social media kind of environment and with the access to stuff, it's like, would I have started earlier, which is probably a topic for another podcast. But yeah, um, even dipping a toe in that arena, watching my bench shoot up from even natural. I had like a 60 kg bench press, just by training with powerlifting people, and I trained with men and Kate Scarlett.
Yeah.
So the bar was always. I've only ever trained with boys or men or other women that were hauling ass. So it never occurred to me that that wasn't possible. And a 60 kg bench shot up to an 80 kg bench, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh.
I like how that feels. And that kind of, it's never been a question of discipline. A lot of people have said, like, how do you find the discipline? I was like, it's keeping people away from the gym once they start that. You know, it's such, for me, it's such a place I want to go. And you put on your superhero outfit of various colors, you know, and your scratch booty tights.
Yeah. Yeah.
You put on your music and you go and whoop all the butts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question. Yeah.
Too. I think you did a good job. And I think I remember Kate. I think I know who Kate is.
Yeah.
She changed last names because she was married before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I used to train at NZ Muscle Gym and she used to train there. And then things happened,
Yes.
so she went somewhere else and she started to CrossFit. But holy,
Yeah.
I always thought she was an absolute beat, like a monster, like just in a good way, like in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I used to admire
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Like, how does she do
Yeah.
it? I wish she still did
Yeah.
bodybuilding though. Damn it.
To be honest, when people were like, you should do bodybuilding, I was like, are you kidding me? Kate does bodybuilding. Like, fuck off. I'm
Oh.
going to get curb stomped.
She was an OG though, eh? She's such a
Oh,
weapon.
and then she was one of these like really glorious people where you had every reason to envy her. Like, not only is she built like an absolute fucking tank, but she's so kind.
Yeah.
And she's got PhDs for Africa, and it's all in really smart shit. She's doing something wildly cool, like CSI type crime scene shit now. And I'm just like,
She's so cool.
she's cool. She's a main character.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I love, and she has this wonderful sanctuary full of rescued animals. Like, she's so cool.
What a weapon. I love her. She's great. Kate, if you're listening, we love you over here.
You're an icon.
You're an
I
icon.
love you.
Come back to bodybuilding. No, I'm just kidding. Just keep living your life.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep enjoying yourself.
Yeah, let's compete together elsewhere rather than against you.
Somewhere else already. How many shows have you done now? Like, when did you start? What was your first year of bodybuilding?
I actually didn't do a show till 2022, and I only did it because my mate Dino was going to do it, and he didn't want to do it by himself. And it was something called the Live Fit Bonanza out in South Auckland, so non-federation. And I definitely probably stumbled into that without really being the target audience. I understand the Bonanza is definitely like more of a scene for people who are embracing a new fitness journey. So it's kind of, they're going from like nothing to like, here's what I managed to do in a year, and it's like transformation. And some of the nicest people backstage, like I'm walking around like, I don't know where to go for my tan, what are we doing? And the girls just kind of like collected me like a beautiful, they were like hens, and I was just duckling, like, I don't know where the fuck I'm going. And they just looked after me. It was so well run. Even though there were quirky things like we're all waiting outside on plastic chairs. The event itself was held in like this dome, and all the natural light was creeping through the dome. So it was interesting. But I practiced for figure and physique for that show, and I practiced 2 routines, and they were both to Star Wars music, and it was so special for me
Love that.
because I didn't let my family know what my music was, and my family are like big Star Wars fans, and it was very emotional having them in the crowd. And as soon as my music started, I could hear my younger brother just hooting over in the corner, like woo woo.
Loving it.
I think, yeah. And then I waited 2 years and thought I would like to do it again. But I'm very much anxious about things like travel. So when the opportunity for shows in Auckland came up, I was like, oh, there's a regionals and there's a nationals. I think originally I was going to do the regionals elsewhere, but then I was like, wait, if my family want to come and watch, that's a dick around for everybody. So I'll do the Auckland ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the 2022 Live Fit Bonanza, and then just sort of kept training and chilling for a bit. And then I just sort of organically decided to do this, last year, and aimed for the shows in Auckland just because it was less admin.
Yeah. So you've only done 2 IFBB shows.
Yes.
What?
And I everyone's like, wow, you got your pro card first time around. I was like, yeah, but I've also kind of been gymming a while.
Yeah, yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of like there were I'm so thankful for the other girls for competing in physique on that day, because I do understand there's like you need enough in order for a pro card to even be on the table.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was just like, I was the only dedicated women's physique person on the stage. So in terms of, it could always have gone either way. And man, standing next to Rata on stage, I was like, if they're after size, I probably have it in the bag. But she's just like, even backstage, she was just elegance, and posing brings out the best in your body. But then if you see someone walking around completely relaxed and they still look like a goddess, you're just like, well, shit.
Damn you, Rasa. She looks so good.
I was like, you know what? I wouldn't be bummed out if I missed this one, because you're an athlete.
Oh yeah.
I'm just a big bitch that's been doing this for a while and might have got lucky because no one else showed up.
Oh no, you guys are both amazing. And it's cool that she battled you, and I think you had Jen up there as well. And it was just cool to have those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was super cool. Also, like, the idea that we were competing against each other didn't really feel like a thing.
Yeah.
Some people did kind of stay to different parts of the room, probably just to get their zen on and stuff.
Yeah.
But Jen in particular was kind of flitting around and being fun, and that would be more my inclination. That's a way to soothe nerves for me, is to try and meet people, and yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it looked like fun.
Yeah.
It looked fun, and like actually had a bad battle, and it was just really good and made you work a little bit. You don't want to give it to you, gotta make you work for it. So
we were all literally backstage going,
yeah,
how does like practicing, like how do we do for the like double back bicep, and kind of winging it a little bit. And on stage, because like your legs are doing this, and I was like, I'd hear like quarter turn to the right. I'm thinking like, fuck, which way's right? Like on stage, so that way. I just like keep an eye on what Raj doing.
Imagine that in heels, Monica. Come on.
Yeah, no. I tried heels at the Bonanza, and my life flashed in front of my eyes the entire time. No. It's a good thing I'm kind of large naturally, because if I had to figure, I'd need at least a year of learning how to walk in them shoes.
More practice on that per day than anything else.
But I understand that's how you get amazing calves, so maybe it's worth practicing.
Or just hit the calf races, save yourself.
Yeah.
I want to know who your coach is, if you've got one. Who's your coach?
Well, so for this year, I technically didn't have one. So Cameron Gardner, who his Instagram is Skinny Fat Natty or something strange. It's definitely not skinny or fat, and I'll leave the last bit open to interpretation. But yeah, he's been a friend for a couple of years. We both at the same gym, and one of those people that would be like, you would absolutely blow people out of the water, Moran. And it was just, it's weird because for years I'd had people saying, you should compete, you should compete. And there'd always be a tinge of like, it's a waste if you don't. And I thought, I don't know that it is, because I like doing this.
Yeah.
But I don't know, coming from someone that I actually train with and who I bro with a lot and, you know, have all sorts of other conversations with, I think it got to the stage where he was like, you know, just give it a go, man. You'd look, you know, there was a confidence from my friend that I trusted more over someone who might have been trying to get me as a client, perhaps. I don't know. I've got some deep trust issues, clearly. And I very much hate being told what to do. So coaching's complicated for me, and I had another friend overseas who was starting out PTing, and we were getting used to the idea of me being potentially competing, and we tried me on a meal plan and stuff. I have to coach myself when it comes to training because I've got so many niggles and so many issues, and I've had hypermobility my whole life. So I would bulge discs. I got my first hernia like in the last year or two. I got to be really careful with my body, and just following a plan really doesn't work. Cameron, when he kind of really came in during when it was getting closer to regionals, and definitely from regionals to nationals, he was like, I'm just your mate. I'm giving you my, like, I'm a second opinion, my experience from competing. Here's everything I know. So it was more like kind of putting our heads together and going like, here's probably how things worked for him. Here's how things probably work for other athletes. And then here's what works for me because I'm special. um, and we got to a stage where I would just be like, be very careful how you phrase what you're asking me to do, because I don't want it to trigger my like, no, I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
I don't like to think of myself as a problem and a nightmare, but I do require a different approach. Probably like when you're in school and you're in the like special education group, you just learn slightly differently. If someone wants me to excel, there's a way to bring that out in me. That doesn't come when it's just, here's the list, do it. Like, I very much need to buy into it and understand it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I mean, I did have a coach for the Bonanza, a cool dude called Josh White, who does nutrition. He did a natural bodybuilding show, then he did powerlifting. I think he's still training for a strongman now. This dude does loads.
Crazy.
And he was very good. He was very good in terms of trying to wrangle my like whatever's going on up here. But we just needed to take it another stage further. Again, both Josh and my mate Alex from the States, neither of them had experience with actually competing in terms of like PEDs or women. And I just kind of felt more comfortable trying to piece it together by myself with Cameron in the wings. And I have a very good mate, Felicity, whose partner competed for years. Her ex-partner competed for years. And so I had her in the background as well, constantly. Like, sometimes I'd get a bit of a boot up the ass from Cameron, which is probably, you know, was necessary. And then Felicity would like do the girl talk with me, you know, you can do it, woo. Yeah, it was like having two people doing the thing. I wouldn't have done it without both of those people, so I'm very, very thankful to Cameron and Felicity.
Yeah. And how was was it good? Like, did you feel like you came in to show like pretty good, like you peaked yourself like pretty well? Like, how are you feeling overall about the prep journey?
Regionals was tricky. I was definitely way leaner and actually like heavier when I came in at nationals, which was great. And yeah, coming into regionals, I was a little soft. And you know, once Cameron was like, right, we're fucking doing this, it was just, we want the best. You know, don't fuck around. You know, you're going to be up there in 3 inches of fabric. Do you want to regret what you look like? And I was like, no. I had a great time at regionals, but I did come out of it going, I can be a ton leaner, and I've got 5 or 6 weeks. Um, we did change the protocol. I'd love to be one of these people who can be transparent about that kind of stuff, because it is involved, especially in sort of categories above, like women's physique and above. We changed the protocols, and that made a mad difference. And I competed in regionals at 75 kgs, and I competed at nationals at like 78.
Wow.
So yeah, and I was way leaner, and that was 6 weeks. So that was very dramatic.
Yeah.
I've never enjoyed being in my skin more than those weeks. It was phenomenal waking up every morning and going, I have new veins. This is wicked. And I've never taken so many photos and videos of myself. I found that side of things amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And what did you do in 5 or 6 weeks between shows? Like, were you trying to push to lose more body fat? Like, what was it? I know these protocols you probably can't mention, and we might even touch on that in our next episode, but what was that?
Yeah.
What
It was peel right the fuck down. And it was interesting because I came in heavier, and there was one bit of thing where Cameron and I kind of like kept butting heads, and I ended up doing a me and just not telling him what my weight was, because he was like, we need to get you down to 75, and I was like, I'm getting leaner and heavier. Why does the number matter?
Yeah.
So I just kind of was like, yeah, 75, I'm fine. Because I was like, please leave my food alone. I, you know, all fairness to everything and Cameron, I could have come in way fucking cooler, probably, if I had done what I was told. Yeah, he was probably getting sick of my shit. I was like hanging on to my chicken with both hands at that stage. The Stairmaster became a big part of my life. I didn't get grouchy until the last like week, I don't think, of nationals. I had to ask people like, hey bro, unless you're hyping me up, this is not a I'm not conversating.
Yeah.
I had people the number of times over and over again, every fucking morning, how do you feel? I'm like, how do you imagine this feels? I am tired. I'm on the Stairmaster for half an hour right now. I'm hungry, and being asked, are you hungry? Do you think about food? The Pinterest folder I had of food, my Instagram algorithm became purely barbecue and desserts. So yeah. But it was a good time. I didn't dislike the whole thing until I watched myself get really grouchy that last week. And then I was like, I actively apologized to a bunch of people because I was like, I'm not in the best place right now. I will come back to you in 2 weeks.
And I'll be better. I'll be happier.
Yeah. Please just put a pin in whatever it is you want to discuss, but not this week, buddy. Unless you're hyping me up, and then bring it on, because I need that right now.
Nothing else will end well, so don't even try.
Yeah. Don't talk to me about food.
Don't be. Come on, guys, take your notes. What does your training split look like now? I want to know, like, what is it since you got off the stage and you've been back into your training and food? What are you looking like now with your training split?
We discussed you know, body parts that we want to bring up. We were saying bigger legs. I keep being told, and I'm very happy to hear it, but it's not a body part that I see on myself often. Keep being told my back's probably big enough. Like, no, it can never be big enough. But I want bigger shoulders because I'm aware that I don't have a long waist. So I want to try and get that view where you're wide at top. There's got to be some kind of coming in, because I feel like I look like this from the front. So bigger legs, shoulders, and just bigger everything.
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah. All
And
the
then just peel down like 3 times as lean so that I can show it all off. But yeah, my training split, again, it's annoyingly organic. It would be very frustrating if someone were to try and follow what I'm doing. Because not only am I in that category of have trained in gyms for like 25 years, I've got to navigate around the things that hurt too much now at like 42 as well. So it's like if my lower back plays up, it's like, cool, I will not be dicking with you for a week and a half. I this week I'm doing 3 leg days. So yeah, whew, which you can only do if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
So kind of doing like a glute and hammy day and a quad and calf day. But on the day, if a dude friend happens to also be training legs, we're just like, let's fucking go. And yeah, who knows what we're doing that day. And I love training with my guy friends whenever the stars align, and our schedules match up. I'm trying to maybe do some weeks I'll do a lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body, and just try and like really go for it. And then I'll have days where I just can't, or weeks where I can't face 3 leg days in a week, and I'll split it up to like a push pull legs, push pull legs.
Yeah.
But I just take rest days. I'm trying to keep Sunday as like a training free day so that I actually mentally do other things.
Mm-hmm.
And also, resting is important, and you can just kind of floor it too much so that you don't get the most out of all of your sessions. If I feel like I'm starting to really like just scrape along the tarmac in terms of my actual performance, if I'm halfway through my session, I'm like, I don't like this anymore. I'll probably deload for a couple of days, and just let things rebalance out. Yeah, that was a vague answer, and it's about as vague as any sort of like direction I have in general. I'm quite vague. I go with the flow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. She trained lots, and that's it.
yeah, all the things often,
All the things all the
whatever
time.
I feel like.
Yeah. And what's your favorite? What's your favorite muscle group? And then what's your favorite like actual exercise if you have one?
A lot of it is the machines. So the ones that we've got at City Fitness Albany, like I'll try something new. Like I've got a set of I don't know what they're called. They're the like pull down attachments that look like rock climbing gear, where you
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys. A lot of the gyms have them now, but we don't. And I bought myself a set. So I just love this close grip, like lat pull down, and it's just currently really firing the bejesus out of my lats.
Yes.
I don't think I'll ever get tired of training where I can feel my lats. I think that's a movement where I feel strong. Might surprise people, but I suck at pull-ups. My excuse is that I'm 86 and a half kilos. And I'm heavy, okay? There's a lot to pull up.
Yeah.
And I love the glute drive that we have at City Fitness Albany. I've tried others and they've slaughtered me, and I've not liked it.
Oh,
I get a huge amount of ego out of the heaviest we've done is 7 plates a side on that guy, which is pretty good.
damn.
For like 8 reps or something.
Yes.
I'm now regularly doing 5 plates a side. That's 10 plates, for 15 controlled reps. So that's where we're at with the glute training.
Yeah, talk to the wellness girls. I ain't got that.
Yeah, I am absolutely gobsmacked at some of the wellness women in the world out there. I've got a goals folder on Instagram, and a lot of it's like wellness chicks with their legs, and I'm like, holy shit. I've tried posing to try and make my legs look like that, and I'm like, I don't know what they're doing, but I must learn their secrets. Imagine having that lower body and a big fucking jack top half.
Yes. That's women's bodybuilding.
Yeah. True.
Pretty much you've got that whole thing down now, lady. You've got all
I'm
of it.
gonna have to get more serious with the chicken and rice. Yes.
Yes, there's more room to grow. There's always room to grow.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you like watching the other women's divisions and the men's divisions? Like, do you enjoy watching all of it, or have you got favorites?
I very much like women's physique because of the routines and just the physicality of the girls. I like watching them. I just like ones with routines, like obvious. My algorithm now that the food's kind of vanishing off. The algorithm's picking up that I like watching people practice flows and routines, like the artistic kind of bodybuilding stuff. So there'll be not pros, just videoing themselves, and it's very graceful. And I follow a few people now that just do really beautiful transition videos and things, and sort of to music or tutorials on how to do it. That's the kind of stuff that I definitely want to practice more of. And yeah, I like watching women's physique for that. And also in my head, that's a body type that I think's really impressive and cool. And I just think when it's to music and it's graceful, it's badass. The men's categories that also have the flow and the routine, I very much like watching as well. Um, I got mates that joke like, "Oh, if you wanted to, you could jump on with the dudes." I don't know, man. I don't know. Have you seen men's physique guys? They're pretty fucking jacked, even compared to me.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I love that. Speaking of posing, though, can we talk about your posing? Because I love your posing.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
do you have a posing coach? Like, how do you learn? Like, how did you make up your routine? Like, just tell us all about your posing. It's so good.
Okay, so there was some solid intent, and then I did the thing, and I didn't quite follow through in the way that I should have and really would have wanted for myself. So a lot of it was they talk about ADD being like you don't really get your shit together until the day before. Doesn't work with bodybuilding at all. Like just disclaimer, if you're one of these people like myself, like find a way,
Yeah.
find a way to overcome that because you cannot be a couple days out going, fuck, what am I gonna do up there? I feel like I practiced flows all over the place, and I was constantly like, I'll nail which moves I want closer to. For that Bonanza show, I actually had choreographed routines, but I still went blue screen on the day, and I just kind of it felt right, and I knew the music by heart. So, um, yeah, my brain sort of shuts down when I try to point it at something. It's like, oh, you've got to do your tax returns. No, I'm going to clean the entire house instead. So it unfortunately started happening with the posing. It's like, you really need to knuckle down and do this. And then my brain would be like, or this.
Yeah.
So I had plenty of inspiration with videos that I'd found online. I did practice for a little bit. One of my other gym buddy friends, Nikki. She's also competed a little bit. We tried sort of regularly getting together and practicing routines, and we just fell off a little bit, and the consistency wasn't there. I would like practicing actual posing and transitions to become a part of the same way that I train all the time, and I just get up and I do my cardio. It's like maybe I can slip down my morning cardio and go into the group fitness room and practice as a part of my life, like brushing my teeth now, because I think that's what it would take for me to actually conquer that little Everest. Um, what I had all of the intentions in the world to really make my stage time like oh, and I'm so grateful for anyone who's got wonderful like supportive feedback, but I do feel like I know that I didn't deliver what I wanted to. and that was very painful for me for like a couple of weeks. I got very down on myself. So I'm just trying to transmute it and go like, okay, so we're going to have to do something with this for the next one that you do so that you never feel this way again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you looked amazing on like no one else knows as well. Like you know, and it means the most, but everybody else just was like mind blowing about you. And I'm so glad I didn't miss you because it was in the middle. There was a break between the men and the women, and you were the first out for the ladies, and everyone had gone to the bathroom and things, and I made it back and I sat down and it was like bam, Monica Cunningham's out. I was like so happy I made it. So honestly, you lit it up and everyone else loved it. And I know that sometimes in your own heart it's not the same. But all you can do now is continue on and be an awesome pro and now use that as part of like the little piece of the puzzle that's just going to light that shit right up. So honestly, I love
Yeah.
it. It's
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
So,
Thank you.
and I'm not much of like a women's physique expert, but I just like was like in awe. You know, you can't stop watching it. So I can't wait to see what else you can come up with in your posing. If that's
It
the
will
start,
be
like
it will be slower. It will be slower.
you've got the
um
energy.
yeah, I will definitely slow down. The adrenaline. The adrenaline, man.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
takes over. But no, that's cool, babe. You've got something to work on for next time, and it's just part of the process. It's bodybuilding. Hey, it's brutal. It teaches you a lesson, and the only way to learn it is when you're on the stage in front of everyone. And it's just kind of part of it. But it's a part that we love because it's just we like getting knocked down to get back up, don't we? Sometimes, but
I am so keen to do better. And
oh,
I think it's a new thing for me because I've only ever done like individual pursuit type sports. I haven't really done um team sports much.
yeah,
The like I could have done better and I want to do better and I will do better is like a new thing for me because, as I say, like I haven't really um I didn't really get into sports in a heavy way. But this is kind of like, okay, I actually really like this and I want to feel like I own those few minutes where I'm up on there.
yeah, yeah. Do all the things,
Yes.
make it a whole package. It is what.
Yes. I want to blow people's minds. They're
Yes.
not just going to be like, holy shit, who is that
Yeah.
absolute statue? And then I move good, well, and they're like, oh,
Who is she? She's already got a pro card. Just remember the name, guys. Monica Cunningham. She's coming. She's coming. Yeah.
triple pose.
How did you choose your song for the posing too?
Well, I like some nerdy things, and I thought it would be cool if I combined the bodybuilding and something kind of nerdy and pop culture-y a little bit. Um, I follow a guy on YouTube called Jonathan Young already. He does amazing like heavy metal covers of songs. And for a while I was gymming to heavy metal covers of Disney songs, which is an absolute jam, by the way. If you're struggling for some new workout tunes, Peyton Parrish and Jonathan Young both do amazing Disney remix kind of covers. And I heard his cover of the Pokemon theme song with the original singer, Jason Page. I actually wasn't a big Pokemon fan, but my younger brother, Bobby, I'm pretty sure watched it religiously. So I was very familiar with the theme song. And I like the lyrics. It's all about the power of friendship and overcoming stuff and the opening lines, I wanna be the very best. I was like, fuck yeah, that's a posing routine song.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, maybe the like heavy metal, energetic kind of genre didn't help with slowing down either. I've watched a lot of other people's videos and I'm like, they use slow music. This
Yeah.
is probably fucking why. It's hard to hold something for like 2 or 3 seconds when you just want to air guitar.
True. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I picked that for that reason.
Nice. I thought it was cool. It was cool. It matched the energy that you were bringing, so it was cute.
And then and then nationals, I went with a similar kind of energy for the Mortal Kombat theme, another heavy metal remix. Cameron like valiantly tried to, again, without telling me what to do, tried to like suggest as a friend that I pick something a little bit more orchestral and graceful. And he even had some some good examples. And then I was just like, what? And he's like, at the end of the day, you gotta pick what lights you up on stage though. What makes you want to go out there and fucking kick ass? And I did have a friend who was doing my song editing, and by the time I was starting to change my mind and go along with Cameron's idea, that friend had less free time. So he's like, sorry, I can't do any more editing. And I was like, Mortal Kombat it is.
Oh well. Worked out.
So whatever my actual pro show is, I will be carefully thinking about the music choice well ahead of time, and it will probably be a little bit slower.
Slower,
Yeah.
but nice. I love it. Then you've done both.
Yeah.
Yeah, see what works.
Multiple. Yes.
Why not? How do you find reverse dieting and stuff? Talk to me about your nutrition. I think this is kind of important. Like, how much do you eat in like an off season? Is it quite a bit? Because you'd assume so, right? With a woman's physique,
I would think. Yeah.
I
Maybe genetically we're quite food efficient. Our family, we definitely wouldn't be accused of having fast metabolisms. I think in the event of the end days where the apocalypse is upon us, we're going to be quite fine when times are scarce. I can get a lot of mileage out of. I think I'm averaging 3,000 calories, which blew my mind when I found out some bikini and figure girls are eating that on prep, and I was like, I need. Can I please? Because that would be great. And I got guy friends that are upward of 5,000 calories, and I get that they're dudes and they're a little bit bigger than me. But I just anyone who complains about struggling to eat all their food, I have to imagine that it's a real problem for some people. Like, but it could never be me. Like, I when Josh was doing my nutrition for the Bonanza, I was like trying to negotiate to keep my blueberries. I was like, just take it out of the fucking rice. Like, who likes rice? Yeah. And I think if I was left to my devices, I'd be a carnivore that also eats fruit. So my favorite foods are things like pineapple and I can eat tons of blueberries. I lived with this cool couple for a while, and Carol um was she's just again so disciplined. I was like, no, I just really fucking like chicken and blueberries. So if no one's messing with me, I'll quite happily live off what looks like bodybuilder food anyway. But I start looking quite stocky. Yeah. While that's fun being strong, it's a little uncomfortable for me if I'm. It wasn't until I leaned right down for these shows that I was comfortable wearing booty shorts, and I promised myself that I wasn't gonna go so far out of condition that I wouldn't be comfortable training and walking along the side of the road in my booty shorts and my little crop top thing. So I was like, if you get to a stage where you start getting shy and covering yourself up, you got to pull back because you've got plenty on you now. You can grow.
Yeah.
But if you get into an uncomfortable place, you need to kind of dial it back in because I just, yeah. The comfort in my skin is one of those topics where it's kind of like if I had to put on more body fat in order to grow more, I would struggle with that, I think, mentally.
Yeah.
There was nothing cooler than looking down and just seeing like a wrinkle. You know, when your hand wrinkles, that's what my stomach was like. It's fucking cool.
I love
And
it.
I know some people hate veins, but I fucking loved them.
Love veins. It's telling you you're lean.
It was so cool. And I like up the inside of my legs. I was like, I didn't even really think about getting them up there. I'd be like doing bicep curls on this machine. I'm looking down going, why have I got like adductor veins? This is cool.
A little bit of carbs and they come out. Yeah, I love it. They're so good. And what about reverse dieting? Like I know that you said Christmas was a bit like, oh, but are you kind of good with it, or do you kind of like is it a bit hard?
There were boxes of scorched almonds because that was one thing that consistently I'd wanted. There were so many foods that as soon as the dieting stopped, I was like, bleh. We postponed my birthday and my younger brother's birthday, which are both in October, till after the shows, because we were like, this would be a dumb idea mid prep, but let's have a big barbecue afterwards. And I actually felt sick. Like the first bite of cake, I was just like, I'm so like I've been eating clean and restricted for so long that just YOLOing all in one day actually made me feel really unwell. I looked pretty good in a dress, I have to say. Kind of like the supermarket bodybuilder lady. Like, she would have been proud. She would have been like, yes. She was like Mufasa looking down at me through the clouds. I don't know where this woman is or who she is, but I feel like she felt that moment where I rocked the dress. But I did feel really sick with the food. So I tried pretty much going back to, I was still living off my protein and oats for breakfast, but I would just put a tin of pineapple on it now because I'm like, fuck yeah, fruit. And chicken, I buy my chicken in the packs of the quantities that I'm supposed to roughly eat a day anyway. And I would just buy slightly bigger packs. And I stopped measuring stuff with a scale. I was just like, that's enough oats. That's enough chicken. And the weight came back on, and I was quite happy with how it looked for a couple months. It's now correct a little bit into that, like, if I got any squishier, I would kind of be unhappy about it. But mentally, I'm like, half the time I feel like I'm rocking it. And I'm like, I'm actually, I look like an off-season bodybuilder, not like someone who's never trained who just happens to be chunky and likes food, which is how I used to feel like I looked. So now I'm like, as long as you're comfortable wearing the booty shorts. So the reverse dieting pretty much was the same food, unweighed for me, like, because there's only so much fucking oats that you want to eat anyway. But yeah, probably every 3 days I'd have like a box of scorched almonds, and then I'd be like, cool, just chill a bit now, okay? Don't do that every day. And you can get away with it for like a month if you're judicious.
Yes. Oh, they're so good.
But yeah. Yes.
They go away after Christmas, don't they? Those scorched almonds. They put them away, so it's like you don't see them as much. So it's kind of thank goodness, like fuck off. It's Easter soon though, but damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's going to be all the Valentine's chocolates and shit, and it's like,
that crap's coming. To stay out of those aisles in the supermarket. Round the
yeah.
blinders on.
Yeah.
How do you have any, actually, I don't even know if you have any, but do you have any free time? And if you do, what do you do with it, ever?
I am blessed to have free time. I'm 10 times more like aware of it and grateful of it because a lot of my friends have kids, which are important. I'm just really glad that that's kind of, it looks exhausting, man. One day I'd kind of like to be like the aunt that drifts into people's lives and goes like, hey, cool. I don't even have a cat currently. So I very much value my free time and my downtime and my space. I'm fortunate enough to live by myself. I'm in a self-contained unit. My landlords live up there. I play the odd single player adventure-based kind of computer game because it's a nice little escapism for me. I've been doing that for years. I don't qualify myself as a gamer girl because I don't play with other people. Ew, people. I used to voraciously read fantasy novels, and I don't want anyone thinking about booktop stuff because it's not that. No. I loved books like Terry Pratchett and Robin Hobb and sort of adventure kind of fantasy stuff. And I used to be quite active at painting and drawing, but I'm finding it hard to really get in the zone to do any of that, unfortunately. It requires everything being set out in the right headspace. And if I have to go back to work later on in the day because of personal training and clients, it's hard to get into that headspace knowing that I got to get back out of it and go to work. So yeah, kind of a lot of, I will nap because once you hit a certain age, naps are just like amazing. So I glorify in my ability and opportunity to nap about sort of 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's amazing. Yeah, I do a lot of just personal individual stuff, I'll fixate on some new thing. Like I made about 1,000 dice for Dungeons and Dragons. Oh yes, I played Dungeons and Dragons,
There you go.
which sounds like I'm actively playing, but more often than not, I'm thinking about playing. I don't know if you're very familiar with Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm not. I haven't never played myself, but I'm like I know all about it, kind of thing.
You know what it, okay. So you're either someone who attends a game and plays in it, or you're the dungeon master who has to run the whole fucking thing. Recently, when I got back into playing, I sort of by default started becoming a dungeon master, the guy that runs it. So you can spend weeks like writing basically a game for other people to play and then never get around to playing it. So it sounds like I play Dungeons and Dragons, but I mostly just fuck around wistfully wanting to play it. And then I'll get a brief whiff of that feeling by playing Baldur's Gate 3 by myself or something. So yeah, if anyone wants to play Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
especially if you're into bodybuilding,
Yeah.
looking for group, yeah.
Good little
So
getaway
that's
training.
kind of what I do in my free time,
Nice.
as well as just gymming.
Yeah. And living the bodybuilder
Yeah.
lifestyle as you do.
Yeah. I think I feel like I'm in a place in my life where it's all kind of clicking. Yeah. It is an expensive sport though, so I've got to sort my shit out a bit more financially.
Yeah,
And then I can really lean into bodybuilding.
get those sponsors going on. Let's go.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. Sponsor me.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Might be listening in right now and they might be jumping on, so get in there.
Yep.
We were chatting before about some because I love watching women's physique and I've been watching all the Australian shows because they do their live streams. And we were just chatting before about Tracy Gwill. I love her and she became a pro last year. And you've now had a look at her. But what do you think of her? Because I think she's amazing. I think she gives me Mon vibes. Like, what have you thought about her since you've had a look at her page and stuff?
I'm like incredibly flattered that anyone would like make that association with someone as charismatic and energetic as her. I hadn't heard of her before, not because of anything other than I'm just away in my own shit all of the time. Like I bodybuild, but I'm not really like I know who Chris Bumstead is, and it's probably my literacy when it comes to bodybuilding. It's not quite that bad. But after you kind of mentioned her, I went and I was doing a walk earlier and I just went on YouTube and listened to a couple of posts on various channels about her. She came up and there was an interview and she sounds like she's had a great time bodybuilding. She said she found bodybuilding when she was sort of like 15 years old, and man, like that's so cool. And just she was talking about like her introduction to it where she met these bodybuilders at this festival and they just kind of like scooped her up. That idea of having like a community of bodybuilders sounds amazing. I don't, maybe I just haven't come across many of them in Auckland, but I was talking with my friend Cyprian, and he wants to maybe start a gym in Mount Maunganui, and with that whole idea of like it being a community, and it's just like,
Cool.
I would probably move there for that. So hearing her, and she'd been competing, I think she said for 10 years before she got her pro card.
Yeah.
Like what a slog. That's like so much determination. To me, listening to her, that's in my head what like a competitive bodybuilder sounds like. There's like adversity and then there's like determination and then like you get kind of close but so far and then you keep coming back and then and then she finally got her, it sounded like, was it all within a year?
1 year, last year.
Yeah. And I loved her, you know, she's all shaved with the like the braids and yeah. I before like the last year or two I used to have bright pink hair and I did braids once, and that like really vibrant external expressive stuff I really love. And I'd like to lean into that a little bit more. I've been experiencing quite a bit of hair loss. And to be fair, like I'm hitting the perimenopause kind of like cusp. I had some perimenopause symptoms not too long ago in the last couple of years, so I feel like some of this is kind of coinciding with the bodybuilding, which has some notorious kind of that'll be one of the side effects. And it's just sort of like I've been teetering on the idea of getting into wigs because I'm just like, how fucking cool would it be to have like some hot pink, like,
Absolutely.
and then some just jet black, like waterfall hair. I just be like, today I feel like this one.
Yeah, that'd be
So
so
I love how like individual and expressive, like, and she looks like a woman who's just gone full send into it as well, and she knows that this is for her and that this is her thing, and I like that because the imposter syndrome is pretty strong for me. Like I didn't compete until like very recently because I didn't identify fully as like a bodybuilder. I gym a lot and I eat pretty clean and I'm naturally quite large. Like she's only like 5'3" or something. I remember in one of and I she looks ginormous and then you realize she's probably about here. Still a weapon, but so I've just been big my whole life without feeling in my like soul that like I belonged in because I don't see myself as a very like successfully ambitious or competitive person. I will fall into things and I might do well at them and then I'm like, "Ooh." Whereas this is someone who's just taken like a snowplow at what they love. And that's really I'm impressed by that kind of thing without being able to understand it at all. And it sounds like she's the sort of person where if you were her coach, like she would just go for it. Whereas I will drive people slowly insane.
yeah.
Both of us will go insane. um, it would be mind blowing to ever be on the same stage as someone like that. Like that's the same kind of intimidation's almost got like a negative cast to it. Awe is more the thing where like if I was ever actually next to Kate Scarlett or someone like
Tracy.
what's her name? I can't even remember names right now.
Tracy.
Tracy. Um, if I was next to anyone that I'd ever seen online in a like a proper women's physique thing, I would just be like, I got lost somewhere. Don't let anyone know I shouldn't be here. I snuck my way in.
You could be on stage with her one day. You're both pros. Never know.
Ooh, oh yeah, I would have to get a lot more serious about what I'm doing, which maybe this will be the year that it all kicks off.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's exciting. I can't wait. We're going
Yeah.
to ask you that shortly because we've got some Instagram questions. So we're going to jump into some of those babies and then we might just jump back into a couple of other ones that I had for you. But let's get some of the Instagram questions because people jumped into this and then, oh no, you're okay.
Yeah, that's all right. That's
She's
okay.
flexing too hard. She's
I'm
flexing.
being attacked by the environment.
It's coming at you. Oh, okay. Here, so this is a good one about your music, which I reckon you're gonna be able to have a good few options for this. But what's your favorite song for a guaranteed PB? Asked by Papa Thundy.
Good old Papa Thundy. We are mates online as well, so I'm glad that he asked one. There are many good songs. But if I'm riding into battle and if it's like I'm either gonna get a nosebleed, or die or I'm gonna lift this, it's always Disturbed Down with the Sickness. Like the lead up, it gives you time to like strap your shit in, get your straps ready, start breathing. And then when he goes, oh, and it's just like it's all on. And I follow this amazing dude who I cannot remember off the top of my head what his name is, but he does phenomenally heavy squats. And every now and then he'll post a video and shit's going down because you can hear the Disturbed cranking up in the intro. You're like, oh, he's going for the 300 kg squat or something bizarre like that. And it's just, yes, that's the song that my ancestors all kind of like start chanting my name when that song comes on.
Love it. I love it. And a lot
Yeah.
of ones won't really know, like Disturbed, you know, like that's a cool era of music.
It's
Hey?
classic rock now. It's
Yeah.
like I heard it referred to as like divorced dad rock or something, and I was just like, ouch.
Come on.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Linkin Park is now classic rock. Like what? How dare you?
I can't even believe it. They better watch their mouths, I have to say.
Yeah, children these days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another Instagram question was, who is your biggest inspiration?
probably when it comes to physiques, random supermarket lady back in the day. Imagine meeting her. That would be wild. In terms of actual people that others might follow online, there's a incredible woman, Angela Yeo. I hope I'm saying her name properly. She was women's physique division, and she's now leveled up into women's bodybuilding. And like Tracy, she's got like she's got braids, and I love her because not only she got like she does an amazing, like she mixes powerlifting and bodybuilding. She's really fucking strong. Again, itty bitty, but juiced. And when she does her post, she's got that like absolute X-wing. Yeah. And she's just like that. She knows she belongs on stage. And I'm just like, oh, I want to look and feel like that one day. She like makes eye contact with the camera. And there's like it's like sensual and dangerous. She's like a panther, kind of like just oh, she looks so cool. And her soulmate husband guy, they both survived a pretty gnarly, I think, motorcycle accident or car crash or something. And they are such interesting people. She's sort of kind of goth kind of vibes. Her page when you go find it, there's she's just really interesting, and it's that whole like not homogenized at all, like very much her own flavor and vibe, and whatever your thing is. I really like when people go full into that. So Angela Yeo's like inspirational as, and she's like arguably very fucking jacked, but very, I think she's just beautiful. um I I'd never really followed this other lady. I made notes. I think her name's Anna Louise Freitas, Freitas. There's photos of her from when she competed in 2014, 2016, like blew my mind. Um, she now does a completely different sort of physique. I don't know how to describe what she's doing now, but it's much more kind of like svelte and very, very feminine looking. But my God, when she did physique and bodybuilding, like seeing these photos, my jaw just went poof. If I could ever look like that, that would be insane goals. Maybe we can attach some photos to the
Yeah.
edited thing, but like you will not believe how cool this lady looks. And there's another influencer called Vladislava Galigan, which a few people might know. She's a Russian girl. She's gorgeous and she's fucking jacked. she's as far as I know, she doesn't compete, but she's so like her whole look is amazing. She's so beautiful. And like a unit, like just but the internet's full of people that want to say you look like a man if you've got any kind of muscle. It's so wild seeing people put stupid comments under any of these women's posts
Yeah.
because they're just so beautiful. They just happen to be muscular women as well. So
Yeah.
they're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the people where if I'm looking for like inspiration in terms of physiques, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Is that what you were asking for with the inspiration?
Yeah. I'm going to get you to send me their profiles after this and
Yeah.
so put the
Yes.
photos up on their post.
Yes.
We'll know what they
Yes.
look like. I love it. And it's just cool to see, like you never know. They might not compete and you might just be like, oh, look at this. Like it's still admirable. It doesn't matter if they compete or not. Hey, it's amazing. It's amazing to see people.
Mm.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I already asked you this one, but someone else asked, so I have to ask you again just to make sure. But favorite muscle group to train?
So this is going to sound real irritating as an answer. I do love all of the body parts, but it's like they feel different. Like back day is satisfying because you can haul weight and you can feel so much of your body contracting. It's one of the muscle groups where I can train with a dude and we can do similar weights. Sometimes I'll do more reps on a slightly lighter weight. I've discovered with men that like they'll whoop my ass when it comes to like a 1 rep thing. Like they might be able to even double what I could do on a hack squat. But if it's volume stuff, especially if you pre-exhaust them,
Yeah.
tactical, yes. You can curb stomp a dude with volume half the time strategically.
Yes.
So I like back. I love the way chest feels. For me, I don't have a massive chest compared to say like the amount of muscle on my back, but I love the way chest feels. Like I get a really good pump from chest. I often wear clothes where I can see the pecs, so I'm just like instant reward. I do the thing, I feel and look cool. Shoulders are a tricky one for me. I want to love them because I want shoulders. But with the hypermobility, and I've torn both of my bicep tendons like through various shenanigans. I don't feel like I have majestic finish. These are not my strong point, I feel. And they are kind of like I will do them until I get good shoulders. That's kind of my thing. I love a shoulder press. Like we've got a plate loaded Nautilus machine at City Fitness Albany, and I'm enjoying being able to do that really heavy, but I don't know if that's going to result in big shoulders. Arms, I've had a bitch of a time. Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, absolutely.
I had an absolute bitch of a time with tennis and golfer's elbow in the last couple of years. Put your own fucking weights away, people. If you go to a public gym and you leave your shit out, and if you leave 20 kg plates on anything, I hate you.
Same.
I hate you. You are a dick. Unload all your plates and don't leave a 20 on for the next dude. I train an 80-year-old woman who cannot use the leg press if you've left weight on it. Fuck off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So after unloading plates all day, I got excruciating golfers and tennis elbow in both arms, and it nerfed the hell out of my arm training. So I'm slowly coming back to arms because I really want to be able to do this and just like give people nosebleeds. Legs is they're rewarding. I can't full send on things I want to. I'd love to. Bulgarian split squats are something I'd love to just feel in the target muscle, but I've got like some recurring hip pain that I can't dick around with too much. I love Romanian deadlifts because my lever lengths have got really long thigh bones and fuck all spine, so a standard deadlift really doesn't jam with me, but a Romanian one I can do. Yeah, I suck at training abs. I could do more abs probably, but yeah, is that all of the body parts? That's most of them, right? Yeah, so they're all different.
Yeah, yeah. Do you do much abs? Do you do any abs? Like, how much would you do?
Bulge disc stuff, and I used to have quite painful scoliosis, which made some crunching movements uncomfortable, and I've had a bulge disc way down in my lower back. So I do kind of just Swiss ball crunches so I can feel my abs. I'd love to do sort of gymnastic things like toes to bar and cool shit. I just tag 3 sets of like 20 of Swiss ball crunches at the end of my morning cardio. I'm hoping that as this area gets stronger, I can expand my abs stuff. But at the same time, I am one of those people where I can't risk getting thicker in the waist because it's already it doesn't do a lot of this. I've noticed looking at pictures of the competitors that look really kind of slinky with the waist, they tend to have the longer bodies. I think maybe.
Yeah, true.
So if you've got kind of like a short torso and the long legs, it can make you look a little. I wonder if that's where the blockiness comes from. I don't know. I am exploring. And I don't think waist trainers do much for us after you take them off, do they, sadly?
Unfortunately not. You can take a couple of ribs out, but that's probably
I'm just going to have to get really wide shouldered.
Yeah, just keep going up the top.
Create
Keep
the
going.
illusion.
Yeah. Glutes, and then they'll just come
Optics. And then just pose really well.
in.
Yes.
Yeah, all the tricks. All the tricks. Someone asked, what's the camaraderie like between the women's physique athletes?
Well, I guess, you know, even though we had enough women to do women's physique, they were very much all, you know, so and so was doing wellness and someone else was doing figure, and they were kind of like, I'm also tagging women's physique on. So it kind of the only kind of dedicated women's physique athlete that I personally know is Kate Scarlett, and she's lovely. I did have people kind of reaching out once I'd done those shows, and maybe people found me a little bit, and they were like, oh, it's so cool that we've got like another women's physique athlete and we need more of this in New Zealand. And I fully agree. So there's within like whoever is women's physique, or at least supportive of it, it feels very very celebrated. I had a I had a funny experience at regionals where I kind of felt a little bit like an afterthought, which might have put a firecracker up my butt for nationals, because I was like, oh hell no. My routine apparently got cut from the schedule and wasn't even going to go forward because I was the only one competing. And they were like, well, what's the point? You know, that's like another couple of minutes for people to sit through. And I was about to cry when our backstage guy, Jacques, apparently went to bat for me, and he was like, you can't cut that. She's got
it. He knows.
And so he's got my undying allegiance. I will follow him into battle. Yeah. That was the Pokemon routine wouldn't have happened without Jacques. And then we discovered, us champs from regionals, that they gave all of us women the wrong medals. So I wound up with figure, I think. Someone else had bikini. So we created a group chat. The positive thing from that was bikini, figure, wellness, and physique from the Auckland regionals. We all started chatting, and then one of us was like, how are you guys doing? How are you handling the distance between regionals and nationals? And we started being real candid. I said about, you know, my food struggle, or someone was saying how their mental health went. So we created like a tiny little cluster of support. Someone was feeling like they maybe wouldn't do nationals because they were losing condition and they were worried about it. We started posting like, you know, I really want to practice posing. Can I post my posing videos here? So that was so supportive and so nice. I think if that's what female bodybuilding and competing is, then it's a nice thing to move into. I get that, like in any sport there's going to be sort of approachable people and less friendly people, and other people are going to take the competition as like you cannot bond with the opposition or your the other athletes. But I really liked being backstage at nationals and seeing these girls again.
No.
And we actually, I camped out next to Chris Tan and Amy Sims, who was our bikini champ, and we just sort of we camped out and lay down and shared our snacks and things. So it was very nice. I was a little bit worried about it being maybe a catty atmosphere, and I didn't experience that, so I was very happy about that.
Yeah, it's a small community in New Zealand of bodybuilders, hey, and like you say, not everyone's like all friendly or they're just, some people are just there for business, but it's nice when people connect because it's so small here, you know, it's not like Aussie where there's like hundreds of bodybuilders everywhere, so it's nice when people can get together and support each other.
And I guess different people handle the nerves differently, but I think halfway through, like, it was really nice to be able to chat. My bikini actually had a wardrobe malfunction at nationals, and one of the girls had a sewing kit, so I was just like, this is what it's all about. Sew that back on. That would have sucked.
Well, that was my next question: is where you got your suit from? But maybe you tell us where you got your suit from, and then maybe what was the wardrobe malfunction? What happened?
It was all my fault. Yeah, so I got both of my suits because I had a reddish one for regionals and a blue kind of satin one for nationals, and they were both by LEG. She does suits. She's got a lovely little place out south, like kind of Manukau area. And she's lovely. There wasn't a lot of bling on mine because I didn't have a lot of money. And then I was like, wait a minute, you can buy crystals off Temu.
Oh
So I
yeah.
said, I'm like, my mission was to try and bling that. It takes a long time if you don't know what you're doing. So since then, I've been actually watching tutorials, and I may bedazzle the shit out of a future bikini. But it was a lot of those hot fix gems. I burnt the shit out of my fingers before I realized you could do it a different way, but you learn. And the blue one was actually one I bought years ago thinking I might compete, and I never did. And I didn't quite like, I have no boobs. And the bikini top was kind of like, there's a potential for boobs. And I was like, this is a waste of material. So I got out the sewing machine and I actually put kind of like almost pleats in it to minimize the fabric and have it sit flat on my chest, because I've never padded my bra. I'm used to looking straight down and there's no interference. Like, I think if I ventured into the land of fake boobs, it would feel a little alien for me. So I wanted to embrace the fact that I just had pecs and have it really fitting. And I really liked how the other girls at regionals, their bikinis were like kind of almost more like G-strings. They were like right up high, and I was like, you can see so much more of their glutes.
Yeah.
And that style that I'd originally got, I was like, I kind of wish it was a little narrower. So I did tweak my bikini a little bit, and I think my stitching wasn't up to the stress of the day. So it kind of started coming apart, and I thought, oh my God. And Rochelle, good old Rochelle Record, who was our wellness girl from regionals, she was at nationals, and she was like, I have a sewing kit. So you got to be friendly with your girlies, because you may need a sewing kit or a tampon or something or a hair tie, and there will be someone there with one.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I think that's cool, mate. I think that's, I just watched before we did this pod, the Olympia from last year, the pre-judging in the finals for the women's physique. And just, I don't know, I just wanted to get pumped up for you. So I was like, I'm going to watch it. So I watched it, and I watched Sarah win, and she does the same thing with her suit. She just gets her pecs out, and then all the other girls have got fake boobs. She doesn't. And I just love how her physique looks without them. I just prefer it. So
and I, there's I got friends with boobs, and there's obviously, like, if it makes you feel good, boob away. The only time I've ever had tits was when I was on the Depo-Provera injection for, like, theoretically contraception, but it was more, at the time we were just stopping the horrifically heavy periods, and that was the only answer that the GP had at the time. And then we switched me to the combined pill, and oh my God, I went from like flat to like a C cup, and it was painful, and I didn't like it, and that gave me like a body shock. I wasn't used to having boobs, so I switched back off. I'd lived so long with just a streamline, like utility style body rather than the decorative bits.
She's functional.
And not having stuff bounce around is like really convenient. That the only time I feel like maybe a little bit more there would be good is the like very rare times there's like a guy in my radar. I'm like, I bet things would go easier if I had some boobies, but the rest of the time I do not miss them. This is me.
Yeah, you've got everything.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about anything else. You've got it all.
Also, like, they either go over the muscle or under the muscle, and under the muscle sounds really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And over the muscle, I'm like, when you are so lean, I can't help but think it will look like teacups. Yeah.
So lean, so tight, and you're like, oh, you can just see it the way, but it's
yeah.
Who knows? There's always time for things to change.
Yeah, maybe one day. Maybe one day.
You look amazing as you are. I love the way you can see your lats more and your chest more without them. So I just like the look of it.
Yeah. And I guess like there's like you can see pecs and
it's
yeah.
more, you know?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Someone asked on Instagram, do you have a recovery routine? And they said you have an amazing physique. And that was from Amber Inia.
Thank you. Not a routine as such. I just I very much focus on recharging every weekend. I wouldn't say I'm notorious for it because people maybe don't come on their radar socially, but I love weekends where I have no plans and I'll just chill, and it might just be like reading a book, lying in the sun, napping. Naps are life. I At this stage of my life, I think I'm figuring out my nervous system from like a conscious place. So I can tell when I start running low, and I will prioritize that recharging because I don't do very well. Like I don't function very well if I start to dip into my emergency generator when it comes to energy. And my way of recharging, there would be a very small handful of people that I could share space with where I wouldn't feel like I'm having to perform or mask or like use energy socially. So yeah, probably the best way to recharge would be to have a cat and a movie and um yeah, just a weekend of doing nothing. That would be my technical recovery routine. Um Yeah, I used to do a lot of foam rolling and stretching and whatnot. But I did used to be almost sort of too flexible and too bendy. So I feel like I'm reaching this point where I'm mobile enough for what I want to do in the gym without being too floppy anymore. So I don't tend to do a lot of stretching because that will it would only take a week or two and I would have no end range of motion anymore in my squats and it would be like dangerous again. So yeah, I guess they just sleep and chill and try and cut all the stressful things out.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people can't do that because of life. I feel very fortunate for my little abode is very peaceful. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And do you like, what are your warm-ups like? Do you warm up like crazy or are you not very much of a warm-up person?
I've got I like routine. I At one point I started like warming up my rear delts with a specific move with a band, and now I just do it before I do any upper body stuff. But I generally, I'll just take several sets of whatever it is I'm planning to start with, and maybe my first two exercises there'll be warm up sets because I might on a back day I might go from a pull down to like a row, and I'll just make sure that everything's like I'll go all the way forward and all the way back, and I just ramp up my weights till I get to a good working set. One of the distinct differences between how my younger guy friends train and me is there's a lot more emphasis on building up to the heavyweight, whereas they're just like, YOLO, fucking 3 plates. That's right. Say, okay, yes, but I'm going to get there in like 4 or 5 sets, buddy.
Safely.
I'll catch up to you.
They're crazy. They're like, I did 80 kilos yesterday. I'll just jump back into it today. And it's like, oh my God, your joints. Ouch.
Yeah. Wait till you have your first bulge disc, buddy. That'll
You
slow you down. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's a pain in the ass.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, it would be wonderful to have that kind of youthful physiology again with all the wisdom of
Yeah.
the 42 years.
No,
Yes.
don't get that benefit, do we? It's life is
Yes.
damn it. What is your plans for 2025? What are you going to be competing again? Like, tell us about what your thoughts are around bodybuilding. If you've got any thoughts that you can share with us.
No thoughts, only vibes. Cyprian, my friend, in Mount Maunganui, who's what I think of when I think of like real bodybuilders. He's living the lifestyle. He is the man. He was saying, every now and then he'll come up to Auckland and we'll train together, and I get completely destroyed. That's not a dude I can keep up with. It's a great time. He was talking about a pro show in Spain in 2026, and I was like, well, if I got to go overseas anyway, and we were like, getting real excited about this whole thing. We're like, maybe we put together Team New Zealand, like someone from every category.
Yes.
And we could have Team New Zealand suits, you know, they could be like black with like silver crystals, and we could have a fern somewhere.
That'd be so cool. That's so far away. It's plenty of time to save and plan, and
This is the thing. It's like I'll be there if you do all the admin, I will show up. I'm useless at that kind of shit, but sounds very cool. I've never been to Spain. Like, goodness knows what the world will be doing, you know, socio-politically at that stage. But yeah, because it was like, I don't know, guess I'll go to Australia for a show, which would still be very cool. My barrier at the moment is money. There's a distinct kind of like financial kind of hurdle for me when it comes to like bodybuilding, especially now that I sort of can't really do it in New Zealand because there's no women's physique pro shows. I will probably, because so many people I know and gym with are competing this year again at the same end of year shows. What I might do is I'll prep alongside them and maybe, you know, not compete. But I really want to prep again. Which sounds insane, and I'll probably be like, why am I doing this? Like halfway through. But I want to practice what works for me in prep, because me and Cameron did great things, but a lot of it was just like, fucking, let's try this. And if we can get more girls talking about how prep works for girls, I would love to be in on that conversation and part of that conversation, because some of the stuff I listen to that's not bodybuilding related is, you know, women's hormone stuff. There's a bunch of female scientists that I follow, and Stacey Sims talks about like training on your cycle, and these are non-bodybuilders, but it's like having that whole female specific physiology stuff is I'm like, that's a whole thing in itself when you're talking about unenhanced women doing, you know, what I would think of as like regular sport. And then to layer on the realities of bodybuilding and the harshness of it for physiology anyway, and then you layer that over women's physiology where we're like really diet resistant and our hormones go, fuck you, when we do anything.
Actually, yep.
That's, you know, I want to practice that and learn more about how I respond to stuff. And yeah, so that when we go to Spain, or whatever, I feel like I've got a grasp on how it works for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the people that I do know personally who've done these things, there's the on paper approach, and then everyone has to tweak shit to work for them. So yeah, that's the plan. It's a loose plan, but yeah, and a lot of actually trying to nail posing, and there's no reason to not practice routines and flows at this stage as well. I need to do that. I need to do that.
You've got a longer
Just
routine.
tattoo it on my hand, like do your routines. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's exciting. And it's just going to be really fun to see that you're actually going to do a pro show. She's going to do one again. It's just a matter of when.
I do plan to. Yes. Yeah. I may need to start selling foot photos or something. Like,
no
judgment.
No judgment.
You got to do what you got to do in this economy.
I think you need to get some sponsors. Come on.
I have had requests for feet photos before, and I didn't take the guy up on it. So maybe.
Yeah. About those photos.
But sponsors would be nice.
Yeah, sponsors. I think that's the way to go, man, because you're a pro now and you're amazing. You've got a crazy physique. You're on Instagram a bit more than you used to be, I think. So that's always a plus.
Yes, I got to get social media savvy. That'll help.
That's the thing. I think they all need that, don't they? But like, what would you if someone was to reach out to you as a sponsor, what would you prefer to work with? Like, is it more like just the sports supplements, fucking that kind of thing, or like active wear, or like what would you rather be aligned with? Like, what would work for you?
Good question. Activewear might be cool because there's definitely a difference in how stuff fits when you're built like this. So I get that anyone who's got big legs like needs to fit things. I am someone with quite long legs. And often if I buy really cute things from like Brazil, they ride up into the unknown. And then they come like just below my knees. So if there's like an activewear for kind of like taller, more built women, that would be neat. And people with lats, like there needs to be a lot of elastic involved. Yeah, that would be badass. Supplements are always like they're kind of part of it, aren't they? Even when it just comes down to like the vitamins and minerals, because when you're so stripped down with that prep and you can feel your body going, I am one poor sleep away from packing it in. So yeah, I guess probably supplements and things. You can never have enough protein powder.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe Teagle want to sponsor me with the amount of chicken I'll probably have to eat. Or an organic free range chicken company.
Oh, that'd be so good. Yes. All those meal prep. Wow, like Swole Foods and the meal prep.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows what will happen? Just putting it out there into the universe.
Yeah. Yes.
See what happens.
Hit me up and I'll think about it.
The last question from Instagram wasn't even a question, but Liv Hobson, I think you know who I'm talking about, but she's Bikini Girl. She said, just wanted to say that Monica's energy was magnetic backstage and nationals, and she's my inspo. So that was really cute.
Aww. Thank you. And you stop it. What I did love about being backstage was everyone was going, no, you're muscly. No, you're muscly. I love your bikini. I love your hair. So thank you. Yeah. It does make me feel very nice.
So good. Oh, Monica, it was so good to chat to you. We haven't even we've dipped our toe in the pool, haven't we? We're gonna do another one because we've got so much to unpack, and I just love everything about you, but your transparency, how authentic you are, your dedication to the sport. You're an awesome pro for us. Like, I'm stoked that you're a pro for us. So for New Zealand, I'm just so happy. So thank you so much for your time today, but we're definitely going to do another one. Hey,
I'd love to be part of any other ones that you do.
Let's go. It'll be really good. And we'll open up about a whole bunch of stuff and just go into the more deeper side of bodybuilding. And Monica's already said she's keen to dive into all of that with me. So I think it'd be really cool to do that and touch on some stuff, especially for females. And especially just in bodybuilding and just for health and all those things. So we'll dive into another one. So stay tuned. And if you guys want to follow Monica, make sure you follow her below. I'll put your link and everything for your Instagram. And I'm just really excited to see whatever you do next. Even if it's not competing, I just want to see whatever you get up to.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. And everyone out there, don't forget to like and subscribe and give us the rating on Spotify and follow us and all of that jazz, because it all helps. It all does its bit, pumps us up. New Zealand's getting up there. And thank you all for listening. And Monica, I'll see you in the next episode we do together. Yeah.
See you.